Darker Lindsay. Maddie, Maddie, Maddie. Oh, today's gonna be a challenge, I can already tell. Hello, lost my mind. Oh, why is my brightness so low? There we go. Now I can see you guys. Goodness gracious. Hello, Max. Good morning, Darius. Mmm. I think my parrots are back. I heard them yesterday. Well, they woke me up yesterday, actually. I'm not starting with the signals melody today. I'm going to be starting with improv. Okay, JB says it's 2:05 a.m. Thursday here in Sydney. So good morning. Good morning to you too. I mean, it's morning here as well, but you're significantly further in the future from me. But I'm glad we're both in the AM at least. What are you doing up, JB? Why are you still awake? Is this normal for you? Good morning, Jordan. I have to miss tomorrow's stream. No, says Jordan. That's okay. You're in so many. You've built up some PTO. So go and enjoy your day tomorrow. I don't know what exactly you'll be doing, but I hope it's something pleasant. Oh, I do like that. Good morning, April. Omni, do you still have your 2016 songs in FL Studio? Dark Row. Um, do you use FL Studio, Dark Row? Because I have a question. I mean, I have an answer that might make sense if you use FL Studio, but it might not if you don't. So it's going to change my answer depending on your answer. You do use FL Studio. Okay. So FL Studio doesn't have the best sample inventory, right? So like if I have a sample on my desktop and I drag it into FL Studio will be like, oh yes, this is a nice clap, and then it'll be able to play that sound. Now later, if I move the sample from the desktop FL Studio will no longer be able to even find this sound and play it, so it becomes like a corrupted sound file. A lot of this, sorry, there we go. A lot of this has happened to my music, my older music. So, yes, I do have like the FLPs of a lot of like 2016 stuff, but since I don't even have the computer I was using in 2016, a lot of the samples won't load. So things like cloud surfing and um, like Bon Bon and Sugar Glider, the whole Nice Dream EP, a lot of the Love Dream EP. Like I don't have a lot of those samples anymore, so they're like broken files. So while I have the file, I can't open them up and have you like listen to them um, as they were released, sounding the same as they did when they were released. Oh, I thought that that was a bassoon, but it's a clarinet. Okashi Milk says, I'm late? No, not really. I only been streaming for 10 minutes. If anything, you're earlier than you usually are. And good morning, Amanda. Thank you for the belated birthday wishes. Gabriel says, maybe a solution would be to have each file in its own folder, and each folder containing all the unique samples. Gabriel, yes, that is how I make music now. That's how I make music now. I have, maybe you haven't been in the production streams, but like I usually show people, like for now, it's like, when I go into FL Studio, the posters are like, I mean, the folders are like, one folder is called Omni Boy, the folder under that is called, I don't know, Daydream, and then the folder under that is called Shoto Clone, and then you open that folder and it has all of the unique samples of Shoto Clone. That is how I make music now. It's a little bit tedious, but yeah, that's how the folders are now. It's just, I didn't do that 4 or 5 years ago, so a lot of those songs don't have that organization or level of foresight. But yes, thank you, actually, Gabriel. It would be super nice if FL had that automatically. That would be super great and nice, but it doesn't. So one of my like 3 complaints with FL Studio. I don't have very many, but that's one of them. Is that it leaves. Well, that's the weird thing, right? With Freedom. Ooh, don't want to make it a political allegory, but with Freedom, you're kind of allowed to do whatever you want, which is so great, but with that freedom comes responsibility, right? Like, for example, you guys know what off-campus lunch is, right? Like for high schools. Good morning, Kiwi. Okay. I think it can be integrated in a way where it allows the user to their freedom or stays in the choice. Oh, absolutely, Gabriel, absolutely. But it's not. But yeah, you're right. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think that when faced with when faced with the responsibility of freedom or the security of restrictions, I think I think I think most people choose the security of restrictions. I don't think that it's overwhelming, but I think that it's like a very slight majority of people will choose security and restriction over freedom and responsibility. I think that so much relies on you as a person. I feel like that's what the initial, well, maybe not now, but that's what the initial Mac versus PC debate was, right? We all can agree that PCs can do a lot more things than like a Mac computer can do. When I say more things, I don't mean better or power things. I mean kind of like just a variety of things, right? There's a lot of games and programs and things that you can do on a PC as far as creativity or customizing your experience in that free space than you can on a Mac. But one of the main selling points for Macs a while ago was that Macs couldn't get viruses, which is a possible risk when you're, in the free space. You don't have the security of restrictions, but you have the freedom and responsibility to make sure that your computer does stay clean, stay safe, stay secure. It's up to you to keep the computer clean. And I think that in my life, I've always preferred the freedom responsibility thing. I always like picked PCs for that reason, or I preferred to like, oh, well, I talked about off-campus lunches because my high school did have off-campus lunch for a long time, and then one student got in a fatal car accident during open campus lunch, and they cut it off. No more open campus lunch, the school said, and I thought that it was pretty wild because I mean I understand why they did it, but it was essentially to safeguard us from dying at that point, which was wild to me because I'm like, I'm not gonna die. I can be responsible and make sure that I don't like go wild in my car. I'm just trying to get other food, but they took it away, and we were all safe, but we had way less options um, and control over our meals. Um, and I feel like, thank you, Lindsay, for knowing what they were. I think FL Studio is this way. FL Studio is um, freedom and responsibility. And FL Studio, I used to blow people's minds in FL Studio because, and this is gonna sound a little like producer jargony, but I'll try to explain it in layman's terms as much as I possibly can. And in all DAWs, there is a mixer. A mixer has tracks on it. You with me still? Of course you are. And if I'm mixing parts of a song, For example, if I'm going to be playing the melody for Beneath the City, and I'm going to be playing the chords for Beneath the City, I might record these two different tracks on the mixer, meaning that I have independent control over both of them. I can turn the melody up without turning up the chords. Like, you have isolated control. Um, yes. Does this make sense to everybody? Can I get like a hand emoji or something? Everybody, or like an I, hello, or yes. I get it. I agree with you, Gabriel, by the way. Okay, okay, it makes sense. In most DAWs, when you put sound in it, it'll designate a track for it to be on. It'll just put it into a track. Like if you had a plate with a bunch of little squares. You know how like in the high school cafeteria they have to play with little squares, and it's like, oh, corn's over here, a little piece of cornbread's here, like the beef is over here. It's like if you were like, oh, I would like some beef, the beef. A good example of like most DAWs is that the beef would just fall into one of those squares. It would like automatically like click into place into one of those squares. In FL Studio, if you grab beef from the counter, like I want this, the beef just kind of floats in this weird like amorphous unidentified space until you personally put it into a track, and you can't do anything to it. You can't eat it, you can't cut it, you can't grab it, you can't interact really with it in a mixing way until you apply it to one of those things. And again, for most DAWs, if you put something into it, it automatically assigns it a track. Fruity Loop doesn't do this. It just has it in this weird, hi Cyber. It just has it in this weird like space, and I think that is in essence a good analogy for, well, not even a good analogy, a good example of Fruity Loop's freedom and responsibility. If you know how to mix really well, you'll know to go in and assign things labels, you know. But if you don't know how to do that, or if you're not exactly a very organized person, all of your Fruity Loops files are going to look like nonsense. They're going to look like nonsense, guys. I um I write every day. I write every day. It makes me really organized. I'm pretty organized at a lot of things. So FL Studio works for me. Hello, Amanda, and thank you for asking if I'm doing okay. Yeah, I'm doing. I'm doing. Um, but I think that, yeah, I think FL Studio is the epitome of that. It's the epitome of like freedom, but you must be responsible, or else everything is going to fall apart. Or as something like Ableton, or even GarageBand, if we're talking about something maybe even a little bit more accessible, is more so less freedom, less liberty, but things are going to be organized. They're going to take care of you. Things are going to be pushed into a mixer. Things are going to be, it's going to be hard to mess up. Think of it like floaties, or when they put those little guards on bowling. You know, when you're bowling and the kids, they'll have those little walls, so it's impossible for them to get a gutter ball. That's what Ableton is like, to an extent. No offense to anybody who uses Ableton. I know this sounds like a scathing review of Ableton. It's not. Just saying, Ableton does have those little gutter walls, so you can't fall into the gutter. FL Studio does not have. Not only does it not have the gutter walls, but instead of there being a gutter there, there's just empty space, like a black hole. So if you like mess up, it just goes. It just goes. You're never gonna see that ball again. Anyways, news has been really bleak lately. I hope you've been staying safe. I've been staying safe as, as safe as I can. Tom Parkey says, "Hey, it's been a while since I could check into a live stream. I hope you're keeping well in these interesting times." Interesting. Yeah, I guess these are interesting times. Yeah, I'm keeping okay. I mean, yeah, physically safe, I suppose, is what I can offer to you, Tom Parkey. But thank you for your concern. Yes, Maddie, the bumpers. I used to use this program on my old PC from like Windows 98 that was called Super Duper Music Looper. That was the jam. Oh, word up. You know what's interesting, Cyber, that I think about a lot, is there are and were so many things. There are so many things that, yes, Lindsay, yes. I mean, I've dabbled in other programs, but I started with FL Studio, and I still use FL Studio. I'm going to answer that question, Dark Row, in a second. Cyber, I feel like a lot of the people that I know and I talk to, it's like whenever we talk about old music things, like there was even an MTV like video game that allowed you to like mix and remix a song. I feel like it's weird. There were so many aids really that helped us. Not even in just music. Somebody, a friend of mine was talking about that thing on DS, Flipnote, and they were like, yeah, Flipnote is why I'm good at animating. Like there was just a game or like a fun little tool that taught me how to do something that ended up being a career skill. I didn't go to school for this. It was just there were so many little interesting things that helped. People learned coding from MySpace, which was like not really what that site was about, but so many people learned how to code. Even the little bit of coding I know is from MySpace. So it's weird. It's weird. I hope the Super Duper Music Looper thing was in some way effective, and you still use things that you learned from it all the way back then. Quickly want to remind everybody, if you enjoy the stream too, like the stream. It helps me when you guys like the video in some way. Now I can get around the Dark Rose question, which is Omni. When you first started music, who did you compare yourself to? When I first started music, that's hard, Dark Row. That's hard because first started music is a weird question. So I'm going to kind of fill in spaces in your question that are going to help me answer it. And if you think that I'm filling them in a wrong way or I somehow misinterpret you, stop me and correct me. But I'm going to say, I want to see you animate something against us, Dark. Dark, did you see my animations on DeviantArt? Is that why you said that? What do you mean again? Have you seen my stuff? Anyways, I'm getting sidetracked. Dark Row. I'm going to edit your question to say, when you first started releasing music, who were you comparing yourself to as a musical artist? I think some of the earliest stuff that I put out was very, it wasn't like very dancey, it was very cinematic. My first songs were very cinematic, like movie score, video game score type stuff. Of course it sounded really, really dinky. But whatever, you know. It was me at the time. And I guess the stuff that I was subconsciously maybe comparing myself to was maybe Nobuo Uematsu, the composer that did all the music for like the early Final Fantasies. He's since been integrated in with like Yoko Shimomura, but maybe even her too, you know? Like old video game composers, I would suppose. Old Japanese, specifically, video game composers. Dark Row would probably be the answer to that question. Word. It is an ancient relic of the past. Speaking of my DeviantArt animation, it was Flash animation. And I am not proud of it, but it helped me understand a lot of things, actually. Oh, it helped me understand so many things. Truly. Anyways, Dark Row, I hope that answers your question. My early stuff was not dance-oriented or even song-oriented. It was more cinematic score-oriented. It was a lot of, like, 7-minute songs that built slowly over time that had some very, like, medieval-type sounding chords and stuff like that. Yeah. Yes. Oh, they're coming in. It's gotten to the point now, I guess it's just the time of year where I can't open this window without getting a couple of flies. I'm going to have to reinstall my screen. I just hate screens on Windows. I like being able to do this. Okay, I'm going to start the medley. What did I do? What did I play? How did I do that? Oh, I was in the zone and I don't remember what chord I hit, but I did like that. Watching a mirrored video where it's hard to even see keys is a challenge. I'm sorry, Lindsay. I'm sorry it's like this. I'm gonna work on that. It's really annoying. Trade-off. A screen really blocks out the view. I think it's better without. Still, mosquito, go, and regardless. This is fair, Gabriel. This is fair. These aren't even mosquitoes either. They're just the regular old flies. The losers. Bunch of losers. But yeah, I hate screens. I use reason and logic to dismantle your argument. I use reason and logic to dismantle your argument, says Cyber. Yeah, yes. Oh my goodness. We all remember teasing people that used reason, saying logic was better. Yes. I think reason, logic, Ableton, GarageBand to an extent. I feel like all of the DAWs sound very serious in what they're able to do. I feel like Fruity Loops, maybe that's also another reason why it kept me. I like that its name didn't really mean anything. I mean, loops, but who makes loops and Fruity Loops anymore? I mean, exclusively. Anywho, Lindsay says, though sorry guys, my Google Assistant popped up on my phone and started like wilding out. I don't know what I said that sounded like the command that wakes them up. Okay. I think the interesting thing about vanilla is it all starts to make sense. That even makes sense. Once I'm up here, I feel like it does stop making sense. All things considered, it's a very, very short passage when it's not being like embellished. Um, I don't even know these chords. Like a lot of the chords in vanilla, I can't just play them. I can't outright play them. Usually, I have to go and start from the beginning. But even this chord is very strange to me, actually. That's a chord that would not. It's technically only two notes, which is something I'm just now realizing. This chord is only two notes. It's this note played on 3 octaves, and it's this note played on 2 octaves. You know what I noticed yesterday? I have all of Arthur, like the entire discography for free on my TV, and I watched like a couple episodes and disassociated for a little while. Arthur's a good show. Anyways, again, just a quick reminder, if you like the stream, please like the video. Vanilla's my favorite flavor of ice cream. Whoever called vanilla boring lost their mind. That was a comment by Gabriel. Thank you for the shirt compliment, Daniel. Do you write your music or memorize it? That's really a good question, Wilbur. Uh, hmm. Do you write your music or do you memorize it? So, I make a song, Wilbur. When I make a song, it's stored up here, technically. So I'm gonna choose memorize. I think that's the answer that you're looking for. I do not write my music on a staff sheet, if that's what you mean, like music paper. I don't write my music in the traditional sense in a way that other people would be able to read it. So I'm going to say I memorize it. However, I know that colloquially, writing is synonymous with creating a lot of times in music. Like Omni wrote a song. Omni is a music writer. I would call myself a songwriter, even though I don't actually know how to traditionally read and write music. I think the word you're looking for is, or I think the answer you're looking for is memorize. I memorize my songs. Gabriel says, Omni, do you like the seatbelts? I mean, it's hard, right? Because I only know the seatbelts exist because of Cowboy Bebop, and I've listened to quite a bit of the seatbelts since then, and I enjoy it. But very rarely, I mean, super rarely, do I ever play the seatbelts. Like, do I ever like go to my computer and I'm like, time to listen to seatbelts? It's kind of like a contextual thing, right? But I do enjoy their music. Um, it's hard. Most bands that I found out through anime, I don't listen to actively. I don't listen to the seatbelts actively. I don't listen to Nujabes actively. I don't listen to Homei Kazoku actively. But, um, but there's a band called Fox Capture Plan. Ooh, I hope I'm not saying that wrong. I think it's Fox Capture Plan. And I didn't find them through anime. I found them through Spotify. They're amazing. They also happen to make anime music, but like every song they make is a freaking. I haven't heard a bad song from them yet, and I've heard a lot of music from Fox Capture Plan. So, if you guys ever want good music that is kind of like anime, listen to Fox Capture Plan. Oh, it's beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. And I don't mean like super scory, like strings and everything. I mean like more like uppity, kind of like seatbelts type stuff. Like maybe more jazzy, active, aggressive stuff. Foxcatcher Plan, yes. Cyber. I sometimes actively listen to The Pillows. That's funny. I want to be clear when I say I don't actively listen to things. Good morning, cause I want to be clear when I say I don't listen to things actively because, as some of you will know, just from being on the stream a lot, I don't listen to music. I hate music. It's horrible. The pillows are chill, says Gabriel. I don't listen to music. When I say I don't listen to music, what I mean is music takes up so much of my day in life. Um, it takes up so much of my day in life because I make it and junk like that, and so usually when it's time to unwind, music is the last place I go. When to listen to. When it's time for me to unwind and relax, I'll usually come in and I'll play piano. This stream for a little while actually replaced my meditation, my morning meditation, because it kind of gives me the same level of like centering. So when I need to relax, I'll come, or we need to relax, or when I have some type of emotions I got to get through, I will work on music instead of listening to music. And since I work on music, I can't listen to music while I work, as most people do, maybe if you're an animator or something. So the only time I really listen to a lot of music is when I'm playing video games, and that video game happens to not have a soundtrack that I want to hear. I realize how hypocritical this can be because I make video game soundtracks, and I would hate it if some. Would I hate it? I would be slightly um, sad if somebody played a video game that I made the soundtrack to, but they didn't hear my soundtrack because they had muted the music and options and just chose to play. Uh, I don't Cardi B instead. However, this what I'm saying is very contextual. So, like, if I'm playing a Final Fantasy game, I'm probably not going to turn on Spotify and mute the music in it. If I'm playing a game like Apex Legends, yeah, I'm definitely. Well, there's no real music in that game, is there? Except for when you drop and when you win. So, yeah, I'll play music during games like that. Um, Ace Combat, I beat the entire game with the original soundtrack, and now I'm just playing missions with my own music playing. And so, yeah, it's that's the only time I really listen to music. I don't listen to music while I work out. I listen to podcasts. I don't listen to music while I meditate. I listen to nothing. I don't listen to music while I work because I need to be able to hear the music I'm working on. And so, yeah, there's very few places in my life where I could fit music in and actually do so. So I don't actually listen to a lot of music. In fact, the more I video game, the more I game, the more music I consume. So for a long time, that's one of the main reasons I was playing so much video games is because it gave me a chance to get through all of the playlists and whatnot that Spotify had curated for me. Beautiful Morning with You is my favorite pillow song, says Liana. Sometimes I wake up and I'm like, yeah, there's a few extra H's on that. Gabriel says, watching animation while animating, that doesn't sound very fun. If I wanted to watch a film, I'd want to be immersed in it. Unless it was for reference. See, Gabriel, yeah, you understand me. It's really hard to do. Um, Last Dinosaur, Beautiful Morning with You, says Lindsay to list some songs. Um, I have to be cheerful enough to listen to the pillows, though. What games have you played recently? Asked Amanda. Most recent game I played and beat was Ace Combat. Um, I also downloaded the Hatsune Miku video game. I was just because it was free, so I downloaded that, played that, played some 3-on-3 basketball game. Can't remember what I played before that, but I've kind of just been going through games to try to help disassociate. Also, I bought Resident Evil 5 yesterday, so that me and my roommate could go through that. And it's like fun. It's like whatever. It's kind of like Gears of War or Army of Two, just kind of like a split screen couch co-op, shoot, 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 run, run, shoot type game. So I'm not mad at it. But yeah, those are the games I played most recently. This year's been kind of dry for gaming, except for Control, and Ace Combat. I'm gonna add Ace Combat. Control and Ace Combat might end up being my like games of the year. Those games, even though Ace Combat technically is old, it like came out last year, but Control also came out last year. I don't really play games when they're new, do I? Anyways, uh, those might be the games of my year. They did a few in California. My saddest realization in life is I'll probably never get a chance to see the Pillows concert. They did a few in California, but you know, the pesky West Coast thing. Yeah, I used to make long drives out here to see bands that were coming in from Japan, i.e., Perfume. I drove all the way out here for the first Perfume concert in the United States. Hello, Izzy, I think? I think that's Izzy. It has been a while. Welcome back. Boom, 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 the garbage man. The garbage man can. If you like disassociate, then you should try disassociatives, says P. Thank you, P. Wednesday, I'll spend like 15 minutes just picking the music to drive to, even if it's a 10-minute drive. Oh, you want to know something funny about that? Jordan and Maddie. I don't really play video games. I only ever play Tetris, Mahjong, or MapleStory once every few months. Word up, Gabriel. Liana, I drove to Hollywood for Baby Mel's first US show. Word up. What's funny is that when I went up to play that rave that I had mentioned before in the stream, the rave that the Liana actually knows the booking agent for. Anyways, when I went up to play that, some of you will remember I did get stranded. My battery exploded. That was weird. I still don't know what causes a battery to explode in the car, but it sure did explode. And it like did something electronically to my car that made my stereo not work. Now I know it's a really easy fix. I could probably just go somewhere and get like a fuse or something like that to fix the stereo. But my stereo has been broken in my car since 2017 is what year this was. And so I feel like at first I was really annoyed. I was like, man, like I need my tunes. Driving is so hard without tunes. And now, because it's been so long, it's actually hard for me to drive with music. I like, if I'm driving by myself, I really love driving in silence. And if I'm driving with other people, I just talk the entire drive. I got in a car with one of my friends recently, and I usually talk to her during the drive and like tease her and stuff like that. I don't know. That's my only mode. And I was talking to her about music and how she doesn't listen to music in the car. And she was like, no, I always listen to music in the car. The only reason I don't listen to music when you're in the car is because you like usually talk to me a lot. She was like, most people, when they get in the car, they don't like want to talk to the other people. They just want to tune them out. And I was like, oh, that's so interesting. Or like when I get into like an Uber or a Lyft, which granted is very, very rarely. I think I take like on average like 3 Ubers a year. But when I get into an Uber, and the Uber driver like asks what type of music I like to listen to, I usually will tell them none, and then I just talk to them the whole time. And maybe the driver doesn't like that. Maybe the driver hates that. But I saw somebody else like complain about Uber drivers talking to them, where they were like, "Ugh, I hate it when they talk to me. I wish there was a button I could press to where they wouldn't talk to me." And I was like, "Oh, that's so weird." Like the idea of getting into somebody's car, somebody's personal vehicle, and then being like, "Hey, drive me 30 minutes that way, but don't talk to me. Please don't like address me or anything." Seems so like, I don't know. Feels like dehumanizing. Like that's a whole person up there, and you're inside their car. It's not even like a company car. Like you're inside their car. I don't know. Anyways, I was raised different, I guess. So usually I like talking to people in the car, especially if they're doing the driving. I don't like feeling like a passenger by this human. It's different if it's like a bus driver or something like that, right? I feel like you're technically not supposed to talk to the bus driver. Oh, and I talk to them too, and they appreciate it. They're always actually really nice. I mean, unless they're not, which they're nice to me usually. I have a few albums I go back to when I can't decide what to drive to. Quick Breath, Ego Death is one of them. Oh, thank you, Lindsay. I appreciate that. Radio music can be pretty depressing sometimes. Now, I think it depends on the mood, for sure, Gabriel. I feel like you like talking to people a lot. You're very social. Hmm, that's a hard one. That's a hard one, Amanda. Um, weren't you going to talk about your Uber experience talking thing? Did I not? Um, I'm terrible at small talk with drivers, hairstylists, etc. Ava, I think that's beautiful. I don't think anybody's actually good at small talk. I truly don't. I think that small talk definitively is stupid. And I think that that's what makes me enjoy it so much. It's kind of fun to engage in this thing that's like not good with people. Because it's like no one, neither person's really saying anything that interesting. We're always, oh, that's not true actually. Sometimes some Uber drivers have said some really interesting stuff to me. There's an Uber driver here that I get very often. He always asks if I can sing. He's like, everyone can sing, and he sings to me in Spanish. He's a sweet guy. I wonder where he's at. I hope he's somewhere safe. Maddie says, yeah, I talk if they're talking to me, but I'm so bad at starting conversations with strangers, so if they say nothing, I say nothing. As a kid, I used to say good morning to the bus driver, says Cyber. I still do that. During the school year, every day, at the end of the year, she gave me a thank you card and a lollipop to say thanks for being nice. See? You gotta just treat people like people. I don't know. Signals and the Ray of Light album by Madonna are my go-to drive albums currently. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Jordan. I've gotten into some deep talks with drivers, man. Yeah, same, Leona. We have to drive for my sanity. I would disagree. Small talk can be interesting if you know what you're doing. Everybody's different, Gabriel. You're right. I did correct myself at the end of that and say I mean I have heard some really interesting things from drivers, but I think it just depends on the person. Even if you're saying things that you deem interesting and you do know what you're doing in small talk, the other person can be very bored and disinterested in what you're saying. It just depends on the person. But I think that talking with an Uber driver, because some people don't want to talk at all. Absolutely, some people don't want to talk, Lindsay, whether they're drivers or passengers. Amanda said that I seem to be very social and enjoy talking to people, and I think that's hard because I would say that I don't actually. But I absolutely understand. I mean, I'm streaming every day and I'm talking for at least 2 hours to you guys. I think I look at talking to people. Um, I think talking to people occupies a very specific space in my. It's almost like a means to an end. It's a means to an end. That's what it is. The reason that I want to say I don't like talking to people is because a lot of times talking to people, especially if they're strangers, you guys, it's a little bit different now at this point. I feel like everybody on the stream, including me, is so familiar now where it doesn't feel like I'm engaging strangers in the same way I would if I were, say, talking into a Periscope stream. And so, that being said, I think usually talking to strangers enriches my day to some extent. I try to maximize experiences, usually in a day. I mean, we're all human, we all need to take a break every now and then. But generally, I try to maximize experiences. And sometimes if I'm even just sitting at a corner, and I look at and I make eye contact with somebody else, and I wave at them, or I say good morning, or something, anything. And they talk back to me, they might have an accent, or they might say something that I don't hear people say very often, or they might tell me something that's cool, they might improve my day somehow, they might actually worsen my day somehow, but whatever they do, it's like adding to the tapestry of experiences in a day, and I just don't want my days to become uniform and predictable and boring and forgettable. Some of you guys know I get on the subway, or I got on the subway almost every day. I would go downtown several times a week. And granted, I would go to a lot of the same places. I did try to mix it up every now and then, like, oh, let me walk down this street instead of that one, even though I know this one takes longer. Or let me get off at this stop and then walk the rest of the way, even though I know it takes longer. Or maybe let me talk to this person that's behind the counter because there's no line here, and I'm in here. I just try to stack experiences. When you stack experiences, of course, they're not always going to be good ones, but they will be something to let me, not sink into the monotony of routine. Lindsay says, I think you don't have to be good at small talk if you're just good at talking to people. That may sound silly, but I think there's a difference. There's a difference. You can have nothing interesting to say and be good at talking to people, and it can save you. I've had drives that I talked their head up to the point I literally fell asleep. Oh. I don't take public transportation, says Ava. Yeah, I guess a lot of people don't. Often, they add. Um, but when I do, a man in his 50s makes a beeline to tell me about sports. I think I must put out an order that says, please explain football to me. And it's a curse. You know what's funny? That's awful. Oh, that's unfortunate. I'm sorry, Ava. I've had people like that. It's never an old man with sports. But there is this old woman that was always on the purple line. Yeah, that was the purple line when I would switch at Wilshire. She was always on the purple line. I was on my way home from IKEA. Oh, she might have been coming home from work or something. That would make sense why her schedules kind of always lined up. But she was usually on the purple line. And no matter where I was in the train, yeah, she would come to me and talk to me. Not really about anything specifically, but I guess something, maybe I looked a certain way where I just had I was putting out the vibes of please come talk to me. I'm lonely. But I'm sorry they're explaining sports to you, Ava. They're clearly excited to talk about it or trying to be friendly, so it's hard to say, no, I understand how sports work. I just am not interested. Ah, yes. I don't mind small talk, says Gabriel. In my head. Because it's not something I usually do, but in general, the idea of just filling in space with talking gets really dull. Yeah, I think that being in customer service teaches everybody how to, if you're good at it, it teaches everybody how to pretend to care or make people feel valued, It doesn't always have to be a bad thing, but it definitely is a skill that you pick up. But Gabriel, I think, yeah, talking just to fill space, I feel like that's maybe, I think maybe it's depending on who you ask thing, it's like a perspective thing, right? Talking just to fill space can be a perspective from somebody who wants that space, right? Some people like silence. I actually enjoy silence. When I'm just hanging out with people, I like not saying anything and just sitting. But usually with people I'm familiar with, it's easier to do that. I don't feel the need to extract any information or experiences out of them because I'm very familiar with this person and there maybe isn't any new things that they can obviously offer me. But yeah, usually with strangers, it'll be a mix of the two. I want to say something to people, I used to get into this thing on Tuesdays. On Tuesdays, I would go to downtown all day. This was I'm talking back in 2008, 18. I'd go downtown pretty much all day. And then, I'll go downtown all day. And sometimes I would get home or whatever. I would be coming back home, and my neighbor would stop me and be like, hey, you want some food? And I would answer them, and my voice would break because I literally hadn't spoken all day. I would be quiet all day. I wasn't doing the streams every morning. I was doing them in the evening then. And, I would get on the bus, quiet, get on the subway quiet, just kind of alone with my thoughts, but in public spaces. And although it was kind of cool sometimes, I would prefer the alternative. I have a demeanor that makes random people in lines at grocery stores or most public places want to talk to me and be super friendly, says Jordan. Going through the same thing over and over and over again, if I had to do it daily, would feel like trash, says Gabriel. I know what to say to people. I know I can do it. This is why doing it as a routine would feel bad. I understand that perspective as well, Gabriel. Ava says, just because sports is so popular universal, it'd be weird to go up to a stranger and be like, do you hear about the new taco at Taco Bell? But I'd welcome it. There actually have been some people that have talked to me about new food items at places I don't eat. It wasn't Taco Bell, though. Sounds is very nice, as Gabriel. I think it was really being close to somebody. Loving somebody is enjoying their company, even if nobody's saying a single thing. Nobody says a single thing. He says, I mean, I definitely have more to say about taco than a sport. About a taco than a sport. Would I? I might have more to say about sports. I might have more to say about sports, but tacos are very interesting, especially out here in Los Angeles. I feel like the taco conversation in LA, I mean, it's Los Angeles. You guys have been to Los Angeles. Some of you have been to Los Angeles. You know the taco game is like, it's not even a game anymore. The taco game has become an empire. There's tacos everywhere. And the thing that sucks is like, the majority of them are like really good. So it's not even like, yeah, you got a bunch of burger places, but you got to go here. You got to go to this place on like 3rd and like Madison. It's like, no, like you can go into a random place. It's called tacos. The sign just says tacos and they're amazing. It's stupid. No talking for a long time can be pretty bad for you, says Gabriel. I'd recommend on days where you have to say nothing to do some sort of vocal thing at least once or twice. It saved me a few times. Word up. I don't know what it saved you from, but that is good. That is good. Yeah, I have to talk every day because I streamed every day. So those days where I wasn't talking all day, I do have to clarify that I was talking in the evening because I had a nightly stream that I was doing. And back then, if some of you will remember, the nightly stream didn't have a break. Like, I streamed on the weekends at night, too. It was just an literally everyday thing. But I've since stopped that. I don't want to get burnt out. I think on my mind all the time, so it's like I'm talking, but I don't talk much lately. Word. We've been here an entire hour, and I've played no medleys. If you enjoy the stream, if you enjoy this talking Ricky Lake... Ooh, you like that reference? If you enjoy this Ricky Lake stream, then, who got my Ricky Lake reference? Cyber, did you get it? Please tell me Cyber got it. Anyways, I haven't played any of the medleys, so I'm going to start transitioning into some music stuff, if that's okay. I'm surprised you haven't gotten burnt out from streaming in general by now. Liana, I have. Ooh. Sally, Jesse, Raphael, talk about the hair, baby. Let's talk about the hair and the glasses, baby. Was Ricky Lake white? Is that a crazy question? Was Ricky Lake white? If Ricky Lake was white, Ricky Lake might have been the first white woman that I was like, no. She wasn't. You know who it was? What's her name? It was, Jane Fonda. I've said this story before. My mom went to a garage sale and bought a bunch of VHS tapes of Jane Fonda. And would do like, my mom did the aerobics for like, I don't know, maybe a week. I think she was just trying to like get the baby weight off because she had several of them, and I was not the last one. She was like trying to get that off, and I think she did get it off, and then she was like, haha, don't eat this no more. And then me being, a little creep, I would I would put them in, and me and my sisters would do them just because we were bored at home. And I guess that was like, obviously, yeah, I didn't need exercise to get in shape. I was like, I don't know, 8 or something like that, but it was just fun. They would always play like this cool like 80s aerobics music, and I wasn't a musician yet, but I knew there was something special about this music, and I was like, oh, they're basically wearing like a one-piece bathing suit. That's kind of cool. And I don't know. That's so funny, because we also did Taibo. Me and my sisters did like a lot of like weird aerobics things just because we were bored at home. Like, we didn't have like a Game Boy or anything, so it was like, this is what we did. And anyways, I remember like looking at Jane Fonda and being like, this woman is beautiful. What's funny though is I didn't realize how old these VHS tapes were, and when I got a little bit older, I saw what current day Jane Fonda looked like, and she still looks good, all things considered, but not the Jane Fonda I know and love. Another thing, that also happened with Shirley Temple. Seeing Shirley Temple for the first time, being like, wow, this girl's cool. And then figuring out that those videos were very old, and the Jane Fonda of my time was quite a bit older. Jane Fonda still looks amazing, says Jordan. Word, word, word. Um, why am I talking about this, though? Why am I talking about this? Billy Blaine's typo. Why am I talking about this? I was talking about something else. Trust me. And then I got on aerobic. Oh, because Ricky Lake. Right. Ricky Lake. Shirley Temple Black, though. Young Barry White is genuinely beautiful. Old Barry White was beautiful as well. But I hear what you're saying, Gabriel. I hear what you're saying. Same thing with Jane Fonda, right? Like, Jane Fonda's beautiful right now, but young Jane Fonda had something else going on. Had something else. Ooh. I played this song at my friend's wedding. That was scary, actually. It was the first wedding I ever played. We're still married, though. Can I take credit for that? Goodness gracious, Cyber. I got asked to play a wedding and I refused, says Ava. Good on you. I'm never playing another one again. The last one I played, I made sure that was the last one. My iPhone camera just died. All the Apple stores are closed here because of COVID. I'm sorry, Isidora. But Jane Fonda is beautiful, isn't she? Uh-oh, I messed it up. I had to unplug my phone. Sorry. Whoa. Whoa, it completely died that time. I think my phone's just hot. I'm sorry, everybody. Okay, okay, alright. Alright. Hey, Peas Bean, welcome. Hey, Peas Bean, welcome. watch a show for a whole month, first order of business, it can't be a show I've already seen. Because, ew. And it would have to be a show that's long, because a month is long. So there are these shows called Super Sentai, which I've talked about a few times in the stream. They are what was localized in America to be Power Rangers, but it's very old, like Japanese shows. And I would argue that it's hard to say that they're better than the American Power Rangers, but I enjoy them more because they're a little bit more mature. Awkwardly enough, they're a little bit more mature. So they typically have anywhere from 50 to 52 episodes. I'm probably going to choose one of those. It really could be any one that I haven't seen all of. It could be Jetman, it could be O Ranger, it could be Die Ranger, it could be Shurikenager, it could be Hurricaneger. Um, yeah, probably one of those. And then I would just watch like a couple episodes a day, you know, and skip a few days. I don't know. Try to stretch it out as much as I could. Okashi picks One Piece. My bro asked me that question, and I'm struggling. I feel like a lot of people probably pick an anime because anime are typically pretty long. Please watch Community, now streaming on Netflix. It is now streaming on Netflix. I've actually never seen an episode of Community because it had such a troublesome lifespan, and it kept moving from thing to thing, and I never really had the thing it was on, so I never really watched it. However, I feel bad about Community because I feel like so many people have told me to watch Community that I feel like now, if I actually do watch it, I'm not going to enjoy it the same way I would if I hadn't been told to watch it so many times. We've talked about this a few times in the stream, where when you get recommended something, a million times, sometimes it ruins your perspective on that thing. It makes you almost not like it instinctively. I need to get into Tokusatsu. You do. Tokusatsu's great. And Super Sentai are insane. They're great. I love them. I love them. If you do watch One Piece, use the site. The site One Piece says, guys, someone has cut out all the repetitive stuff, which can occupy like half an episode. That's actually pretty funny. Someone abridged One Piece, which is like insanely way too long already. Where were they? Where were they? Where were they like 10 years ago? I think that's my answer right now, says Lindy. Oh, I missed what the answer was. Have you watched Peaky Blinders? I still have not gotten around to watching Peaky Blinders, but I promise I will. It's on my list. I've been slowly working my way through my list this year, and I'll be honest, we all have like a little bit more time than we did last year, so I'll probably get around to it. I did watch something recently called Tales from the Loop on Amazon Prime. It was amazing. It was amazing. The show was literally based off of paintings. Like, there's some famous painter in Sweden or Norway or something like that, and they looked at his like art book and they're like, we can make a show out of this, and they made a show out of it, and it sounds like it would be bad, but it's actually really good. Hello Retro, welcome back to the fold. I can't really get into Avatar, it just doesn't do much for me. Tales from the Loop does get better, in my opinion. I don't know when you stopped or where you stopped, but I finished the whole thing. It's only like, 8 episodes, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. I haven't watched Avatar either, but it is another thing that keeps getting recommended to me. Which show are you talking about? Since Gridman had an incredible anime, I've been thinking about watching the original Super Sentai from 1993. The OST is insane and the visuals are too. If I'm going to recommend a Sentai, I would say Jetman was incredible, and I did some like surface level research since I watched all of it, and one of the reasons that it was really good is because the person they hired to do the writing on it wrote for soap operas, so it's like really dramatic and also very good, and the music's great, but all of them have great music. Anyways, Okashi says it's still charming in its own way, though watching episodes all the way through though gives it a nice complete feeling, says Okashi. Watching the first 2 episodes were kind of vague and I didn't know if I should continue, says Sky. Yeah, it's one of those types of shows. I'm a completionist, so it's very rare that I'll ever watch a few episodes of something and not finish it. But it's just one of those shows where it, like, each episode weaves a part of a tapestry, I suppose. 2018 anime is absolutely a work of art, very deep and interesting, says Gabriel. After Community and Parks and Recreation, says Isidora. I enjoy both of these shows. I mean, no, sorry. Parks and Rec, I enjoy. I haven't seen Community, as I said earlier. I think it's funny. Whatever Netflix adds, everyone starts humming about. Yeah, Netflix is kind of the curator, tastemaker for pop culture as far as film and TV shows go. It's weird. It's weird, right? I really thought that Disney Plus was going to come in and wreck everybody's day. Turns out they didn't. So that's cool. Good surprise for me. Good surprise for me. Gabriel says Super Sentai really show how much love and thought is more important than money. And shiny stars. Yeah, one of the big things that I enjoy about Super Sentai is the budget is very, very low, but the story is very, very immersive and interesting. Um, Goodness, I'm trying to stay at the bottom of this chat, but everything's moving so fast. Um, oh, I still haven't watched the new season of Altered Carbon. I haven't watched the new season of Altered Carbon because I think I might have to rewatch the first season of Altered Carbon. It's been a long time, and I've been watching so much other stuff. It is on my list though. I have like 15 things on my list right now, and I think Altered Carbon is like number 5. So I just have to watch a few more things, and I will get to it. I think I'm at the bottom. I think I'm at the bottom. Um, word, word, word. I refuse to watch Silent Voice, says Dawes. say about Super Sentai is I think everybody should watch the 2004 Cute Honey live action short made by Hideki Anno. It's brilliant. If you ever make an EP with these stream specific tunes and reworks, how about calling it something like Friends of Omni? Too close to House of Omni. Too close to House of Omni. I was supposed to do a House of Omni too, remember that? Jesus Christ. Would you consider your work jazz? What genre do you think you classify your work under? Yes, Gabriel. It really depends on the song, right, Gabriel? Did you have a specific song in mind? I need more information. To this day, Tall Tales is one of my favorite works by you. Holy crap, Aria. I don't think Gabriel was talking about that one for sure. Thank you, though, Izzy. I do appreciate that. Pretty rare. Pretty rare that people have heard Tall Tales. I do have a second one planned. You didn't miss the entirety of Flight Plan. I only played the intro chords from it. Cause good morning, Nicholas. But yeah, Gabriel, was there a specific song you were talking about? That would help me. Gabriel says, nope, no song in particular. I'm asking in general, would you? Oh, I wouldn't. In general, I wouldn't give my music a genre then, if that's the question. If you have to reply to that and say, I'm a blank musician, would there be a genre that will best describe you? No, there wouldn't be. I would just say I'm a musician. video game DJ. Oh, thank you, Lindsay. My mom's back home now. Um, Cyber says, I would even hear an Omni Jersey track even though it was a little dated. I think everything from Two Tone Disco. I don't everything from Two Tone Disco. I don't like everything from Two Tone. I don't know everything from Two Tone Disco, says Cyber. So I'm guessing it's possible. It already happened. Yeah. Okay. So talking about a Jersey track, I did make a Jersey track for Two Tone Disco. It's called Baby Be More. So you know my song Baby Be Less that goes. That song is derived from a chord progression that I wrote like earlier that year called Baby Be More. Baby Be More was a play on words for Baltimore. It was like a supposed to be a Be More house song. Ended up being a little bit more Jersey oriented, and the name of the song was Baby Be More because it was like Be More house, but it was kind of like cutesy. So baby plus the Utah Vocaloid that I used in it. Said I think the lyrics were "Nobody wanna be my baby." Nobody wanna be my baby. Yeah. Nobody wanna be my baby. Nobody wanna be my. All the lyrics are just "Nobody wanna be my baby." So Baby Be More. And then I made an Omniboy version of that song called Baby Be Less for Less Stream. So Baby Be More is like a Jersey Club song that uses similar chords but the same melody, and Baby Be Less is like a more down-tempo jazzy thing that takes that melody and recontextualizes it. And embellishes a little bit, honestly, because that part isn't in it. Yes. Oh, Cause knows Baby Be More. Word up, word up, word up. And Sky knows Baby Be Less. in the middle of some song. Who knows? Who remembers? Who cares? I did play. I played Double Lutz. I played Jumpin' Jaybird. I played Catching Up, which is mostly just for me. I like playing that song. Sorry, I haven't heard Tino Disco. That's great. That's great. I appreciate Sky's comment, and I also appreciate Kaz's comment. Kaz doesn't know the story of me and Tito Disco. They just know that I made the music. So, not a lot of people are gonna get your comment, Sky, but I do, and I appreciate it. I played everything. I haven't played Over and Under though. That one's for Cyber. Yeah, I didn't play Vanilla, did I? Whoa, Kid James is here. I guess I haven't played Reflection Pool yet either, huh? I still haven't had Bonchon chicken, but Liana brought it up in the stream yesterday. Is it really good, Sky? Like, from what you know about me, do you think that I would like it? Because there is one just down the street. Word. I'll try it. I'm doing okay, kid. Sorry I didn't see your comment. Thank you for caring. This song's called Reflection Pool. It was named by Kid James. Well, be careful in the protesting, kid. I did see your request, cause I just didn't read it out loud. My bad. I feel like the Witchy song has to get a real name at some point. It has to get a real name. It can't just be a. Ooh, I do like Utal better than Vocaloid. That's a very divisive subject, though. I actually just talked about that yesterday because now I have a Hatsune Miku video game. Lindsay says Dara is very patient to still talk to somebody who supports Trump. That is patience. Patience is a virtue. I didn't mean for that to come off sounding as cliche as it did, but it is a virtue. I think yesterday I like kind of got into it with somebody on Twitter, and I realized. I mean, I don't like getting into any type of Twitter debate anyway because I feel like when you're going back and forth in like a social media comment way, like a comment stream, it's not even the same as like if you're going back and forth in a text conversation, which is which is worse than with like a face to face. You know, I would prefer a face to face thing. I feel like you can avoid a lot of like pitfalls and minefield things when you're talking to somebody. And also, I mean, it's Twitter. I don't want to talk to people on Twitter anyway. I'm glad that you enjoyed it, Maddie. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, isn't that funny? It is funny, Sky. It is funny. Patience. I'm a very patient person, almost to a fault. I've like let people do some really wild stuff and kind of just went, eh. I've like I've met a lot of pretty serious things that people have done to or around me, but yeah, it's good. It's good to be patient sometimes. I'm barely on chapter 3 of patience, says Lindsay. I think I'm patient because I have a big family. Honestly, if I'm going to attribute it to one thing, which you can't really attribute most of your character traits to one thing in your life, but if I'm going to be general and apply it to one thing, I think it's my family. I think I just have a really big family, and if I didn't have patience, I would have died because there's just so many of us, and you weren't really going to get what you want when you wanted it. My patience has run very thin throughout the years. You want to know something interesting? Cause, and I think that this will apply to a lot of people, right? So, I had patience. Who didn't? Or I didn't have patience. Who did? No baby's born with patience. You are taught patience because I think patience kind of comes with empathy. You're like, oh, people don't know what I'm going through. I don't know what other people are going through. So let me kind of just give them some time to gradually get where I am, or see my side on things. I think that's where patience comes from. I think it's a byproduct of empathy. And then I moved out of my home, so I was no longer living with my parents and my family, and I was spending a lot of time alone for the first time in my life. Like, a lot of time alone in my own home, I should say, for the first time in my life. And then when I had to be around my family again, I realized that my patience for my family had been depleted, right? I didn't have the same level of patience because I had gotten accustomed to not having to live around them. Patience is almost like a muscle. I feel like I have to flex every so often, or exercise, work out. And I think having roommates has given me patience because if I say just lived in an apartment by myself, I think there are certain things that other people do in and or out of a living situation that I just wouldn't have the emotional equipment to deal with, I suppose. But Kaz is less tolerant of people now than they used to be. That's fair. I'm less tolerant of certain things now than I used to be. A lot of you know that I was born and raised in Arizona, which is a very conservative place to grow up. And so, in just the 5 years of living in beautiful Cord alert, what is that? Anyways, living in LA, even just for 5 years, has made my patience with like hardline conservatism run a little bit thinner than it used to. I still have patience, but it's just not where it was when I used to have to see that every day. You ever heard of Run the Jewels? Of course, of course, of course. I guess they just dropped a new album today, and all proceeds go to charity. Word, word, word. Word up, yeah. Sky's been here 2 years. Congratulations, Sky, on your 2 year LA-versary. LA-versary? Yeah. LA-versary. Yeah, a few months ago, I had my 5 year. That was interesting. Just dealing with people and relatives that took advantage of the patience and empathy. Oh, it's not a real word. That's not supposed to be a real word. Happy LA-versary. I feel like 2 years is it, right? I think that if you move to Los Angeles, a lot of people have said this, a lot of people have different times. Some people are like, if you can make it through the first year, you're good. I disagree. I think if you can make it through the second year, you're good. I think the first year is deceptive. If I'm taking an aggregate average from my experiences and the experiences of my friends, I feel like the first year of LA, it kind of tries to kill you slowly, especially if you're moving here without like your mom and dad, like, I guess, paying for your apartment, because I realize now that that's some people's experience. Wild. Anyways, if you're moving here on your own, truly, I think the first year is very difficult, and then you kind of figure it out, and then the second year, typically, just seems to be true in all of the cases with my friends. Usually in your second year here, something really bad happens. That doesn't have anything to do with like being able to afford rent or finding an apartment. Just like life happens in the second year. And then I think if you can make it through the second year, being like, the city's really hard and my life is also very hard, I think that year 3 is doable. Year 3 and so on. But I've definitely known a lot of people to move here for the first year and be like, oh, I got this. And then the second year, they realize, no, they didn't. And LA was going to kill them, so they needed to leave. not the chords to Winter Heart, but that was kind of fun, yeah. Second year of LA sounds so scary. I'm happy you got through it. It's not. I think the second year of LA is like, if you skateboard, I use the skateboard analogy way too much. If you skateboard, just sometimes just being on the skateboard, like kicking and being like on the skateboard and being able to do an ollie is like a thing you have to learn. And then like learning how to do a kickflip is like, oh wait, I have to do all that stuff that was hard enough just existing on the board, and now I have to do a trick. It feels like that. I feel like the first year of LA is just trying to figure out how to live here, and then the second year of LA is trying to figure out how to live here, if that makes sense. First year is like all survival. Second year is like, oh wait, my life is in shambles. And so, yeah, you can't really focus too much on survival. You also have to like focus on, fulfillment of being, I guess. I kind of want to learn how to skate again. Again? It's like riding a bike, baby. I'm joking, it's not. I can't do a kickflip anymore, for example. But you should do that. You should learn how to skate again. I have longboards downstairs. Actually, one of them's Kiwi's. Kiwi's longboard is in my house. Her longboard and my longboard are downstairs, and I haven't ridden either one of them in, I don't know, 3 years. No, 2 years, maybe? I don't know. 3 years? I just don't really skate anymore. Wow, yeah. Getting on a skateboard would be really weird for me right now. Okay. This next song is called Flight Plan, because why not? The new Tony Hawk Pro Skater announcement has me wanting to get back into skating. I'm always jealous of the cool skater girls. Oh, Maddie, they're not that cool. Believe you me. No, nobody's touched that skateboard since you left, Kiwi. Yeah, it's very dusty. Will I ever skate again? I think my skating days are over, Kiwi. learn is roller skating, says Maddie. I love going to roller rink, but I go so infrequently that I never actually develop skills. I feel you on this, Maddie. I used to be really good at actually skating, but I just haven't done it in so long. There was a roller rink in Arizona called Skateland, and I spent a lot of time there. I always forget that flight plan was on Daydream, honestly. I always think of it as a single. Something really weird happens sometimes in the streams where I'll see somebody's comment and I'll put it in my brain like I'm gonna answer that later, and then I'll forget about it, and then I'll remember it way later in the stream or way later in my day after the stream is over. But I do remember that Sky earlier in the stream asked if I ever get nervous before these streams, and no, I don't get nervous before these streams. I think that whatever performance nerves I once had are numb. I shout out to Patlock for reasons that will become apparent in the story. But when I was performing at Soap is the name of a club in Seoul, Korea, and it's an amazing club. 2, it's ran by 2 amazing dudes. But anywho, when I played there with Patlock. I was opening for Patlock, and Patlock came to me back in the green room, and I was like looking out at the crowd, which was a lot of people were there. That was really weird. Anyways, he was like, "Hey man, you nervous?" And I was like, "No." And he was like, "Really?" He was like, "Have you ever played here before?" And I was like, "No, not at all." And he said something else and he walked away. I don't remember. He said something else. He was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah." And then he walked away, and I was like, "Yeah." And because I was like thinking about it, and I was like, oh, I don't really like get nervous before shows anymore. And I don't even necessarily think it's like oh, cool, like I've trained myself to not get nervous before shows. I think that I'm just not thinking about it. I'm not thinking about, I guess the thing that would make somebody nervous is like, what if they don't like me? I think is a thing. Maybe that makes people nervous. I think I just... I don't feel that anymore. When I look out at a crowd, whether it's a bunch of people that seem into it or whether it's a bunch of people that seem bored and they're like, bring on, whoever's headlining the show, bring on slow magic. We want slow magic. I think, I'm like, well, whatever. You clowns paid for a ticket, so. What disrespect. What a disrespectful way to think of the crowd at a show. But without being too disrespectful, that is how I think. It's just like I'm looking at them like, yo, you guys bought a ticket, let's go. Let's go. If you don't like this, one of us is paying for this experience. The other one's getting paid for it, so that's an L for you, buddy. But no, I generally am like, okay, we're here. I have to do this thing. However, Sky saying that their main worry is messing up. I think I mess up every show. Which makes it sound like I don't care. But that's not true. I think I mess up every show, and I think sometimes I worry about messing up, and I mess up, and sometimes I don't worry about messing up, and I mess up. And in all the times of messing up, sometimes the crowd can tell. If it's a big mess up, right? Like if I'm just playing in a different key somehow. That's happened before, by the way. Or if the sound just cuts off. Um, but I think one of the main reasons I don't worry about messing up and people being able to tell is because in a lot of cases, especially when I'm on tour, a lot of the people don't know the songs, or people are there to like dance and have a good time. People aren't there to hear accurate recreations of my songs. So let me not count Omni stuff. Let me go back to when I was in a band. When I was in a band, I would have some nerves about messing up or like ruining the performance, for my bandmates or whatever, or making the song sound bad live when people had this expectation of what it was supposed to sound like after hearing the recorded version. I think I saw somebody. Have you ever seen a performer and gotten secondhand embarrassment because the crowd just like was not into it and they were like really hamming it up? They're like doing all the like, hey guys, don't be afraid to come up to the stage. Like, hey, I'm all lonely up here, guys. Fill in this gap. Why is there this big gap here? I won't bite. Like you've seen artists do like those things, and it's like sometimes it's really uncomfortable for you. And I remember being in some place in New York. Was it called Cake Shop? I don't think it was called Cake Shop. I think it was called Cake Shop. No, Pie something? Pie House? I don't know. Anyways, it was in New York. It closed, I think. But I saw somebody doing that. And it was not a big show. I think there was like a total of like 10 people in the crowd. It was a small venue, so it wasn't like 10 people in a stadium, but it was still not, a happening crowd. And the people were going like, hey, don't be afraid. Come on, come up to the stage. This next one. And they're like making jokes and stuff like that, and they're like the bass player's like playing freaking like Careless Whisper or something, some riff that's like supposed to be funny. It was a nightmare. But something that I admired about that is I was like, these people legit don't care, and I wish I had that. At the time I didn't have that. I was like, these people do not care. There's a lot of different like personalities. I think if you can like fall into your own live personality, it helps nerves. There are some people that'll mess up and they'll make jokes about it. In the middle of the live, they're like, "Oh, that's not that chord." Sometimes I'll do that in a live stream, but that's because this is like an unprofessional setting. But I'll like play something and I'm like, "Oh, that's not how that goes. Oopsie," and I'll stop it, then I'll start over, or I'll just play through it. Who cares? But I think there's that type of personality. There's a type of personality that's like a perfectionist. There's a type of personality that tries to address the crowd and connect with the crowd. I think that I'm not those. Typically at a show, I don't talk to the crowd at all. When I start a show, I'll talk at the very beginning of my set, and I'll talk at the very end of my set. Just be like, "Oh, hi, I'm Omniboy. I made these songs," and I'll play. And if a mistake happens or whatever, I just kind of play through it. It's like part of my process, and so it doesn't make me nervous. However, I will say that if I had to talk to the crowd more often, or sing to them in a like if I had to sing a song for the crowd where it was just like piano and my voice, I think that I would probably be a little nervous then, because a lot of my comfort with my own voice comes from like effects, like throwing a bunch of effects on my voice or having a bunch of things going like drums and stuff like that. I'll sing to that, or I'll sing through a vocoder. But if I was just like singing like acoustic to a piano, I think that I would have more nerves then, because that's not where my value lies in my skills. It's not in my vocal training, it's more so in my chord play. Cyrus says, funny story, the power strip was on the DJ table at a show and I was at, and every time the bass hit hard enough and strong enough, it would flip the switch and cut out the audio. Jesus Christ, that sucks. I want everyone to get real close to this. Yeah, stuff like that. Stuff like that. I want everybody to get real close. Hey, this next one. Hey, how many of you guys hate school, huh? This guy knows. This guy hates school. Oh, don't we just hate school? Screw teachers, right? Anyway, this next song's called Summer Forever. If you like summer, everybody, if you like summer, let me see them hands. Everybody yell summer. Everybody repeat after me. When I say I love, you say summer. It's awful. It's awful. I feel really bad. I feel really bad when that happens. I don't have that level of like fearlessness, but the crowd, right? The show. Unfortunately, the show is like it's like a two-person thing. It's just like comedy, right? Like the crowd has to allow a certain amount of things to happen, and you have to be willing to direct certain things. I think, for example, when I played at Circus. There's a club in Tokyo called Circus that, if I can play there again, please. Oh my goodness. I don't know if I've ever wanted to return to a venue that badly, but anyways, when I played at Circus, the crowd was so like attentive. I've never seen a crowd that attentive. This thing happens a lot at shows where like um, sometimes if you cut the music or if you're in between songs or whatever, you can kind of hear people talking. If you address the crowd, you can hear people talking. Not everybody's going to be into your music all the time. This is just like a thing that I've come to realize, especially if you're playing at a bar. People are trying to hook up. Somebody's trying to like freaking sauce down some girl he doesn't know. Somebody's on the phone. Somebody's texting. Somebody's like, people aren't really that attentive. Playing at Circus Tokyo was the first time that I remember like I ended a song, and in my set a lot of times I'll end songs like song segments, and then I'll have a segment where I just play like acoustic piano to kind of improv my way into the next song. And I was doing that, and I kind of looked up, and like everybody was just looking at me, and I was like, oh, this is weird. Like there wasn't like I didn't see the sides or the backs of anybody's head. There wasn't even like phones out of people recording me. People were just staring at me. It was so interesting. That's never happened to me before. Anyways, Isadora says you should make stand-up on me. You have early videos on YouTube that are gold. I used to like focus on comedy way more than music. That was weird. A weird time for me. Yikes, Liana. Yeah, that's a big yike. It's a big, big yike. That'd be actually kind of cool if everybody had painted faces on the back of their head. At least that would show some type of unity. But yeah, they were just staring. It was really interesting. It was really interesting. And then at the end of the show, I don't know, everything... I mean, that's more of a cultural thing, but it had nothing to do with my music. But at the end of the show, everybody formed a line where they all came up to me and thanked me for playing and, like, talked about my set. Like, this was my favorite song. Thank you for playing this song. And I gave them all stickers. It was really weird. It was really weird. I wish shows worked like that here, honestly. I wish they worked like that here. That was a beautiful show, by the way. I hate playing last in America. I love playing last in Japan. I hate it. I hate closing here, but yeah, closing in Japan is amazing. All right, word up, Sky. Thank you for being on the stream as long as you were. Good luck with the rest of your work. I need to be getting out of here pretty soon too. So we'll start winding it down. Start winding it down. I'm going over a little bit of news. I am physically safe. I will probably be at the Pros Nest today. Say hey if you see me. You won't, because none of you live here. Well, Sky does, but probably won't see Sky today. Word. Stay safe on me. I will, Cyber. Thank you. I have a new song out called The View. It's pretty. Please listen to it. I enjoyed making it. Hopefully you enjoy listening to it. It's about driving around in a car that I lived in. I also have two other releases. One's called Ego Death, the other one's called Quick Breath. Remember all my story times of being homeless yesterday? Those were fun, huh? Quick Breath and Ego Death and The View are available on Bandcamp, SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Google Play, Amazon MP3, Tidal, Brew, Deezer, Pandora, Napster, and YouTube. We're on YouTube right now, and I know I haven't really been putting up new videos every week like I usually do because, things are happening right now. But if you haven't seen all the Quarantunes, please watch it. It's video of a much happier me. Isn't that wild? You get to time travel to a happier me. So there's 8 of them, I believe. There are 8 of them. The first one's called Honeydew. The second one is called French Lavender. Dreams Come True. The fourth one is... No, the third one is Home Is You. Uh-oh. Oh no. Guys, I lost it. Okay, Honeydew. Oh my god. All right. I'm here. I'm awake. Honeydew. French Lavender. Home Is You. Dreams Come True. Old enough? Oh. Money talks? Oof. Maybe. Um, no, I'm not. Did I say I'm not dead already? Guys, remember when I used to be able to get through these a lot easier? Um, I'm gonna try it again. I'm gonna try it again. Honeydew, French lavender, home is you, dreams come true, I'm not dead, old enough, um, money talks, easy go. There's 8 of them. Hey, check me out. All right, I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. Um, so if you haven't heard those songs, I worked very hard on them. And when I say very, I mean harder than I work on like Spotify releases. Because all of those songs require me to record and edit video, which, as you guys know, is not my strong suit. So I'm trying to get better at that, or at least I was trying to get better at that. Please go listen to that. I'm Not Dead is great, says Lindsay. Oh, thank you. I use very similar vocal processing on I'm Not Dead that I used on Venomade and Catching Up. So that's why the vocals sound kind of similar. On my mind, you know, I think about you all the time. Yeah. I don't remember the chords to it, but you can fill in the gaps. Easy Go Slap says Dark Row. I do remember the chords to Dark Row. Those are the chords of that. Ooh, yeah, that song's fun. Okay, so listen to those. Those are my latest YouTube videos. Lindsay says something about people trying to stay safe. Are you going to the protest today? I am going to the protest today. Worry not for me. It's fast. Not sure yet, Lindsay. Not sure yet. I have not heard back from them. Hopefully they're okay. Okay. It is Wednesday. Oh my god, it's Wednesday. Guys, if I'm being a little bit transparent, I have not been working out. I have not worked out in a week now. My body is falling apart. Also, I haven't been that on top of eating. I've been dying a slow death. But I'm trying. I'm trying to this week get back into like my workout schedule, my smoothie, my stream. There's no smoothie today. I haven't been being very nice to my body, so I'm gonna try to get back on that in the meantime. Do Word up, Kiwi and Lindsay. I hear you both loud and clear. But dude, I know. But okay, this song is called Hush Hour. I didn't write it. Um, somebody wrote it for me. Would you guys still respect me if I didn't write any of my music? What a horrible thing to ask somebody in a music stream. Would you guys still respect me if I didn't write any of my music? And like, I didn't actually, where did the Katamari come from? From Japan. No, I don't know. It just came into my head. I don't know. I do love that theme song, though. Like, imagine for a moment, if you will. Because, you guys, I want to say, if there's a pie, if my fan base and audience is a pizza, you guys are... If my fan base and audience is a pizza, you guys are that little bit, that like little, you know, you order a pepperoni pizza and then like you look close at the crust and it's like that little thing. Oh, what are those things called? Oh, they look like a little watermelon. Oh, I can think of it. Oh, I'm not gonna be able to think of it. Somebody's gonna beat me to saying it in the stream. What's the little thing that looks like a watermelon called? Sometimes they could just put it into bread, like they bake it into bread. It's like a little seed. Oh, little seed look like watermelon. Little seed. Maybe Google one. Little seed look like watermelon. Whoa. Holy crap. Have you guys ever seen a gherkin seed before? It looks just like a watermelon. It's not what I'm talking about, but Oh my god, what's it called? Little seed. And pizza. And pizza. Oh, guys. I'm glad nobody's getting it, because I want to be the first one to say it. No, it's not a calameño. Or fennel. F-E-N-N-E-L. Oh my god, I'm a genius. It does look like a little watermelon. I'm not stupid. Oh, these pictures don't make it look like a watermelon. Forget what I said about making it look like a watermelon. No, some of them do kind of look like a watermelon. Okay, anyways, why? Okay, if my audience and fan base is a pizza, you guys are a fennel seed on it. And I mean that to say that you guys are not indicative of what most of my audience is, behaves like, or looks like, or cares about. And the reason I say that, I've forgotten. Oh, the reason, the reason I say that is because earlier when I was like, would you guys still respect me if I didn't make my own music? You guys, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your perspective, know I make my music because you see me, or you watch me make my music, whether it's in a production. For those of you that you saw me make French Lavender, or you saw me make Across the Pond, or you saw me make this weird one. You saw me make a lot of these in the stream. So you're like, oh, makes sense. I've seen Omni, some random black dude that seems to have control of all the accounts of Omni Boy. I've seen him make a song that sounds more or less similar to the music he makes, so I believe he makes the music. Or you're just an extremely trusting person that just trusts what you see on the internet, and you think that every artist makes their own music. This is not true, guys. If there's anything you gather from these streams, please gather that not all artists make their own music. I see them, I know them, I don't trust them. But if you guys weren't in the fennel seed of my fan base, and you guys didn't come into the streams, you guys didn't know what I sounded like outside of the songs I sing, and you guys didn't know what I cared about, or what I did every day, or where I lived, what my apartment looked like, and you found out from a credible source, let's say TMZ, they were like, Omni doesn't write his own music. We just found the dude that does. His name is I don't know, Spanky. We found Spanky, and he's the one that actually writes all of Omni's music. Would you guys be like, oh, screw Omni? Because I would. What a stupid thought exercise. Domino's used to out fennel seed in their sausage bits. Yes, yes, they used to have fennel seed. Do they not anymore? Do they not anymore, Cyber? A lot of oh my god, thank you, Cyber. That's why probably I equate fennel to being in pizza. There's definitely no fennel in a Little Caesars pizza. You see a straight up hustler when you see me? Word up, Jordan. My hustling days are gone. I live in California, so pizza out there is kind of esoteric. No, it's just Domino's. It's just Domino's. Everybody loves Domino's. Not everybody loves Domino's. Lindsay wouldn't believe it if Lindsay heard that I didn't write all my music. Really? You can't. You don't know me. Remember, Lindsay, you're not in this. You're not in the streams. All you know is like Omniboy Bonbon, Omniboy Ego Death. And if somebody was like, yo, the reason that Ego Death doesn't sound anything like Nice Dream is because he got a new person that ghost produces his music. It's a completely different songwriter. Would you be like, oh, that makes sense because his old stuff was cute and now it's not cute anymore? I'm sorry you hate fennel, Lindsay. I don't know that I have any opinions about fennel. I don't love or hate it. I don't even really know what it tastes like. All I know is I've seen it on pizza, and there were so many other flavors happening that I couldn't be bothered. Valkyrie says, I'd be surprised. You're a cool person. I'd still chill here. So I'd still chill here. No, if you weren't here. Because if you're here, you know I make it because you're seeing me make and play it. I'm saying if you just knew me to the same degree that you know, I don't know, like Megadeth or something, like you just know the music, you don't talk to homie, and it's like, oh, he doesn't write his own music? Well, this hypothetical, says Kiwi, I don't know anything about you. I do my own research. I love garbage. Anyways, I usually see it in pizza sausage, says Cause. Yeah, it's in sausage. I mean, if Spanky wasn't streaming, okay, in this reality I'm making, Spanky's not streaming and neither am I. You just see like a tweet that has like 200,000 likes. You have a tweet that has 200,000 likes and it's like me. It's me going like, the initial, oh my god, this is so fun. The original tweet is like, the original tweet is me being like, yo guys, a new album coming out soon. It's called, Bubble Dream. Check out Bubble Dream coming soon. And then there is a 200,000 likes quote retweet that's like, yeah, bro, but you don't even make your own music. Yeah, where's Spanky's writer credit on this? And then a bunch of people in the comments are like, yeah, give my boy Spanky some love. Spanky's what made you, bro. Like everybody's like giving Spanky love, and they're coming for me, and it looks credible, as a big tweet on Twitter usually does. Big tweet on Twitter. Does Baby Metal write their own music? Says Liana. I don't think so. I don't think so. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say no. No, they don't. But you still like them. Are you making a point? Does Perfume write their own music? Liana is making a point. I don't care if Yasutaka Nakata writes for Perfume, I still listen. Yeah, you still listen, but I mean, no, that's different. Liana, that's different. Yeah, as much as I would love for artists to write their own music, I would still listen to Omniboy if it wasn't Omni. Oh. But what about Spanky, guys? This is a very important thought exercise, and I'm glad I did it. I would mind if you were only the performer, as long as the writer is credited. Now we're getting into the dirt of the subject. Cause is in the grits. Cause beat some of you guys to the grits. I would like, oh, that's a little weird, whatever, I guess. And you would keep listening. What would Omni be if he didn't make his own music? A loser, I would say, probably. Loser, punk, idiot, charlatan. I can throw out some more accurate ones. Mm. Whack. Omni would be a whack if he didn't create his own music. I would say that Omni is canceled. Thank you. Freaking finally some real. Thank you. That's what I want to see, Maddie. Thank you, Christ. Justice for Spanky. The reason that I'm asking this is because. The reason that I'm asking this is because. And first of all, let me address the perfume thing because I love perfume. Guys, I drove hundreds of miles to see perfume because I love perfume. I also love Yasutaka Nakata, but that's different, right? Because a lot of us kind of know he makes the music for perfume. There's not really that big of a secret there. Even if you Googled perfume, went to like Perfume's Wikipedia, he's mentioned there as the person that makes all their music. And so when the song says by Perfume, it's like, yeah, we know, but we know who really makes it. In the same way that when you listen to a song by Ariana Grande, it's like, yeah, it's by Ariana Grande, but we really know what's going on here. Yeah, it says it's by Lady Gaga, but we all know that Blood Pop has been in the studio with like, yeah, it says that it's by Kesha, but like Dr. Luke is really here. Like, we all know what a producer is. And it's okay to still like that act. But I think sometimes it's different when it's not a pop act, right? If it's like a if you're literally calling yourself a producer, right? Like Perfume isn't calling themselves a producer. I am under the name producer. Um, Deadmau5 is under the name producer. They're called a producer. Bokeh is a producer. Mark Redito, Sean Wasabi are producers. And so if you found out that somebody else was producing for them, then what exactly does that make them at that point? What does that make me? Anyways, Cyber says there's a performance aspect of it and the composition aspect of it. The thing is that Omni is describing as more of an issue of rap and hip hop circles due to attribution. Yeah, it's like because the performance aspect isn't really that important when it comes to somebody like me. I get it if you are Taylor Swift, you're performing your songs, you're touring your songs, you're really adding a voice to these songs, even though somebody else maybe has written them or produced them. But for like the SoundCloud era, it's a little bit different, and I know that doesn't necessarily translate all the time to people that aren't on SoundCloud, because SoundCloud people really do have to make all their music. They don't have either the budget or the network to hire in, a whole team of people to make their songs sound good. They have to do everything themselves, and there became this responsibility. You know. It's interesting. Huge difference between big name and under a label and all these pop stars that have making stuff. Yeah. Nobody thinks Beyonce makes all of her music. Nobody expects really Beyonce to make all of her music at this point. It's different, right? Once you become a corporation, basically. Once you get so big, we almost forgive you for not making all your own stuff. If you were an artist that made clothing, like you made cool clothes, this is kind of like an Omocat thing, right? You think about Omocat, it's like, yeah, in the early days, it's like they're making all their own stuff. And then now when you look at Omocat, like Omocat's not drawing all of those things that are on the shirts, even not even the same person is. It's like a bunch of people are making Omocat merch at this point. And so, what does that mean? It means that we're maybe a little bit more forgiving of people not being as authentic and as in charge of every step of their process when they get higher up as far as being big. Right? Plagiarism is whack. Plagiarism is whack. Plagiarism is whack. Yeah, I'm not even necessarily talking about plagiarism. I guess I'm more so talking about crediting. Even if it's a subconscious crediting, right? If you didn't actually produce your music, and I didn't know you as a person, says Lindsay, I would try to support the actual artist. See? But I'd be lying if I said I would stop listening to... Yeah. No one's saying to stop listening to music because the music's good. I had the same exact, although slightly different, I won't get into the thick of it, but I had the same thing with Two-Tone Disco, which is why Sky said what they said earlier about Two-Tone Disco, which is like, I was writing all of the music for Two-Tone Disco, but I was essentially getting half the credit for everything, sometimes none of the credit. And so it was weird. It was a weird position to be in as the person making the thing. And I think... Yeah, try to support the person that actually did it. I think... You know how Adam Sandler was in Uncut Gems? Goodbye, Easy Door. Thanks for being in the stream. Be safe as well. Hopefully, I'll see you in tomorrow's stream. Um, I used the analogy of Adam Sandler being in Uncut Gems, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, how is this movie so good?" And I think that a lot of people unfairly, when they see an Adam Sandler movie, are like, "Adam Sandler's trash." When, I mean, Adam Sandler's making a lot of his movies. He's in control of a lot. Um, and if Adam Sandler is maybe acting in somebody else's movie, it could be good because he's no longer really in charge of the movie as a whole. I think a lot of people will see a Will Ferrell movie and be like, "I hate Will Ferrell movies," and they'll forget that Will Ferrell's just an actor, really. Like he's not writing his lines a lot of the time. He's not even picking his character, you know. He's just there. He's just there trying to make sense out of what was handed to him on a piece of paper. Um, it's such a collaborative effort, right? Directing, shooting a film, acting, writing, producing, all of these things. That it's hard to look at any one party that is involved in something as big as a movie and go, gross. This is your fault that this is bad. And a similar thing can happen in music, where I try to give credit where credit's due to certain people. And sometimes you kind of have to dig for it. Somebody will listen to a if we think about Drake, you listen to a Drake bar and you're like, oh my god, sick line. Like, he's so smart. He's so, like, a cut above. Like, I love this bar, this line, this reference, this wordplay he did. And then if you figure out that he didn't actually do the wordplay, then do you really like Drake if you were attributing most of the reason you liked him to that one thing? You know? Um, I don't know. Hearing about Alice Glass's perspective of Crystal Castles kind of ruined any replay value. See? Context is important sometimes. Sometimes, Liana. Hmm. Yeah, I guess there was no point in me bringing this up. Although you guys have given very interesting answers, there was no real point in me bringing this up. I guess I was just trying to point out that sometimes, especially in music, but sometimes in general, just in art, you may like something or may not like something, and you can attribute it maybe to the wrong party. I, for example, one of the main reasons I liked what's his name? What's his name? Big tall guy. Big tall guy. Lives in California. Very beautiful. Beautiful voice. Was in Jurassic Park. Was also The Fly. Jeff Goldblum. One of the main reasons I like Jeff Goldblum is because of his fashion, his sense of fashion. After a certain point, it was like a certain year where his fashion kind of got on a level where I was like, oh my god, this guy, what a beautiful man. And then I learned a little bit later that he actually has a stylist who buys all of his clothes and styles them up and everything. And he doesn't really know where half of his shirts come from or who made them. And it kind of ruined it for me. I was like, oh, I've been accrediting his style to him all this time when really, I mean, somebody's being paid to kind of do that for him. And it doesn't mean I don't like him or think he looks good anymore. It just kind of, it shifted the credit, I guess. I almost said it shifted the blame, which is kind of funny. I have a good friend who writes and produces for Katie. I wonder if people knew this writer, would they appreciate her as much as a big name she contributes to? No. A good example of this, oh, Jordan. Oh, that's such a good thing that you said that. Jordan, do you know who Bonnie McKee is? Do you know who Bonnie McKee is? Do you know that singer-songwriter? Honestly, though, if you didn't write your albums and were able to fake it this well for this long, I'd be impressed. Yeah, that would actually be pretty cool. If I was just, like, learning somebody else's songs on piano and claiming that I've made them. Okay, so Bonnie McKee, Jordan. Thank you for knowing Bonnie McKee, Jordan. For anybody in the stream, if you don't know Bonnie McKee, she's a very talented songwriter and singer. She wrote a lot of songs, like a lot of songs early on for Kesha. She wrote she wrote a lot of Katy Perry songs. In fact, if you listen to Bonnie McKee's voice and music, you can hear how she wrote a lot of like Katy Perry, Jesse James, stuff like that. Anyways, she wrote, was successful for a pretty long time as a writer, and then she was like, why am I giving these songs to other people? And again, uh, I'm taking some liberties here just to kind of get a point across. But she ended up putting out her own song. It was called American Girls. I am an American girl, hot blooded and I don't know if any of you guys know that song, but it's a very good song. That was like her breakout single. And I don't need to tell you guys that that single didn't do well as the single she had written for Katy Perry, because some of you guys in the stream don't know that song, but you guys know Katy Perry. So, to say what to contribute to what you were saying, Jordan, I think that sometimes being the writer, even though you're writing amazing stuff, people like don't want to give you love for it. They want, if we're being honest, maybe the reason that they like Katy Perry isn't the songs, as made very clear by a Katy Perry song coming out by another artist and then being like, we don't like this one as much. Maybe they like Katy Perry because they like how far apart her eyes are or something, or they like the story that they've been told about her. It's really interesting. I've played with this, and I'm not going to name any names now because now it's getting like maybe a little bit personal, and some of you guys might know some of these artists. So now I'm just going to go with nameless people, or not naming people, but I have written songs for other people. I now do not enjoy doing this, but I've written songs for other people that have gone on to be fairly large, much larger than my music, I'll put it that way, much larger than my music. And I have written similar to, if not the same type of songs, sounding songs and everything for myself, and seen it not do as well. I've actually had a lot of frustration with this in the past, where it's just like, yo, how come they like my songs when I release them through this person, but they don't like my songs when I release them by myself? Why am I struggling? And I think that if a lot of people were honest about it, it isn't just about the music. In fact, sometimes I would say people liking an artist is maybe 25% about the music. I think that a lot of it is about how an artist looks, how they tweet, if they're funny, how they dress, stuff like that. People being able to relate to an artist. And I, typically, at least I've been told by like more executive side of music people, I'm not very relatable. And that's fine. That's fine. But if my songs are packaged behind a very relatable face or funny, like cute face and voice, it's easier for the song to do well. And so quite a bit of money I've made has been writing music for other people and putting it out through other people. And so I got away from that in like 2017, 18. No, 18, 19. I started like distancing myself from that and like investing a little bit more in my own music, because it was just kind of a bummer sometimes to see like your own song do really well, but from somebody else. It's just kind of annoying, I guess. Maybe I'm too selfish, because some people live very happily like that, i.e. Bonnie McKee. Some of you guys may already know Bruno Mars started the same way. Bruno Mars was only a studio writer, never released his own music. He would always release his music through other people. He would release his music through CeeLo Green. He would release his music through... Who was that? Was that a John Legend song? He's written a bunch of... Just like do some base level research. He's written music for a lot of other people. And then he started doing it himself, singing on his own songs and releasing them, and it worked out for him. It worked out for him. It's worked out for a lot of people that were writing behind the scenes. Kesha was another one of those people. Kesha is a older songwriter and top line. If you don't know what top line is, it's like when somebody goes in and they provide vocals for a record that they're not really credited or featured on. Kesha was on like old Flow Rida tracks and like Pitbull tracks, and then she broke out on her own and it worked out. I'm just saying that for every one of those it works out for, there's like 9 other people that it doesn't. Somebody like me, where it's like, oh, my song worked well through this one thing, let me put them out myself. One of the contributing factors to me leaving Two-Tone Disco, no offense or insult intended for anybody that was a part of that process, is that I was looking at songs I was making and I was like, why am I making a song and receiving half the credit and half the money and still working really hard when I can do the same thing on Omniboy and actually get all the credit and get all of the profit and proceeds from it? It just didn't make sense to me. And I think that that's the same mental thing that goes through a lot of people like Bruno Mars or Bonnie McKee, where they're like, wait, why am I selling my song for nickels and then letting somebody else make like dollars off of it? And so they'll try, and it's not always a successful venture. Sometimes you fail, whatever that looks like. Cyber says, I like how the stream was ending and then we spent about 30 minutes on discussions of credit and Spanky. Yeah, it was a hypothetical. Spanky was a hypothetical, but people's answers were way more interesting than I thought they would be. Um, I have not heard of Winter Diana Jordan. Um, Kaz is leaving now. Thank you so much, Kaz. I hope you're doing well, and I hope you do well for the rest of the day. Liana says Two-Tone Disco targeted weebs, which is... Do you want to know the story about that? I promise I'll make it short because I've gone... This is a 2-hour stream now, isn't it? This is ridiculous. This stream has doubled in size in the last, I don't know, 10 streams. But Two-Tone Disco targeted weebs. Yes, Two-Tone Disco did target weebs. Two-Tone Disco targeted a very specific demographic. And something... You know what that felt like? It felt... Wait, closer to 3 now? Oh, no. Oh. Wait, why is my... Oh. Oh. My counter got knocked off. Yeah, my counter got knocked off. My counter still says it's only 2 hours because of, like, when the stream froze for a second. Anyways, yeah, it targeted weebs. And I think this is a good analogy of that is, like, when you're a kid and you... when you're a kid and your grandma sees that you like dinosaurs or something like that, and then your grandma sees you again on your 27th birthday and is like, I got you a dinosaur toy, because that's all your grandma knows. They kind of froze you in time to who you were when you were a child. I think that when I joined Two-Tone Disco, I was a weeb. This was 2012, 2013, I joined Two-Tone Disco, and I was a weeb. And I made music that a weeb makes. And as I gradually grew out of that phase and started being a little bit more, what's the word, authentic in my own voice with Omniboy, I tried to do the same thing with Two-Tone Disco, and then it started feeling redundant. I was like, if I change my sound, Omniboy sound, to be more authentic, and I changed Two-Tone Disco sound to be more authentic to me, then these two projects will never have a line between them. They'll always kind of be in tandem, which seemed superfluous, right? So I let Two-Tone Disco stay in that, like, kind of bubble of weeb music. And something that I realized is that there are a lot of people who were connecting with that music, even though I personally, as a person making it, I wasn't connecting with that music anymore. I think I was kind of like phoning it in, and I mean that in not a way to be insulting or disingenuous. It just, when I came out with some of those songs, it felt contrived and derivative. It's like, here's a song called Sushi Bounce, and then it's like, we'll get some like vector art of, I don't know, sushi rolls and color with like neon colors, and then there will be like a new Tao Vocaloid in there, and it'll be all very cute, and then there will be video game noises, and this is gonna kill at Anime Expo. I think that was like my experience towards the end. I was just like, this just doesn't feel good, you know. It just didn't feel authentic, you know. I still have weeb fans, but it's a little bit different now. It's a different type. Can Grandma Omni be my grandma? She has passed, Maxie. But if you would like, sure, I don't care. I made a song for my grandma called Immortal after she passed away, and that was on the Tall Tales EP or mixtape, which somebody else brought up earlier in the stream. Yes. But that's why I left. I think the Spanky dilemma is something I face every day because, unfortunately, being in the music industry, just like being in any industry, is going to allow you visibility of certain things. There have been a lot of times where I've respected or admired an artist, and I got closer, and then I realized the things that I admired them for. I'm a music man. I'm a music man at the end of the day. What do I care about? I care about music. You guys show me a movie, I'm gonna go, great soundtrack, guys. If somebody's playing a song and they're wearing, I don't know, a Jildan t-shirt and blue jeans, I don't care. I actually had like a disagreement with somebody that will remain nameless recently because I said, if I go see good music, I don't care what the artist is wearing. I don't care what the visuals or the lights or the smoke looks like. I don't care what the venue looks like. What I care about is the music, because that's what I paid ticket for, is to hear these songs. And they disagreed with me, saying like, I'm not gonna enjoy somebody's art if their visuals are bad or if their outfit like sucks. Like that's stupid. And I was blown away. But I think that that is a lot of people's disposition. Um, no one, which is a username, I'm not saying nobody, but no one says that they tear up when they listen to Immortal. Oh, I'm glad that it touches you. That's interesting. Yeah, I feel that song feels extremely personal to me. And so the fact that it makes anybody else sad, maybe it makes you sad because of context, because you know what it's about. Um, no worries, Max. Am I allowed to give important news update on me? Um, yeah, if you want to. If you want to. As long as it's not a bummer. It's probably gonna be a bummer. But no, give it anyway. If you feel like it's imperative and people in the stream need to know. But what was I saying? Yeah, that's the reason I brought it up, is because if you're in the music industry, sometimes I'll meet people, since I'm a music man, sometimes I'll meet people whose music I love. That's the reason I like them. I don't care about how they dress or what they're talking about. I care about their music. And then when I find out they don't make their music, it is disillusioning. It's like, oh, I don't know that I like you anymore, because that was the reason I liked you. That's the reason I liked you. If you went to McDonald's one day and they were like, sorry, no burgers or fries. We do have tacos though. You're probably gonna be like, oh, I mean, well, all right. Like, it's not to say that the tacos are bad, but it is to say that that's not why you came. The reason that you go to McDonald's is not for the tacos. The reason that I liked you is for your music, and when I find out you didn't make your music, one, I don't know that I like you anymore. Two, I want to find who made your music, because maybe that's the person I should be giving appreciation and love to, and not you. And I think that happens a lot in the music field. And so the thought experiment of Spanky is saying, if Spanky made my music and I didn't make any of my music, and I wasn't here streaming, obviously, there's no personal attachment, you guys just like my music, and you find out it's not me, do you still have any associative connection with me at all? Or are you just like, no, Spanky's my guy. I love Bon Bon by Spanky. Spanky's ego death was amazing. Oh, word up. Thank you, Kiwi. Actually, that is imperative news. That's good. That's good. I respect artists' decisions to leave split up groups. Good things can't last forever, says Liana. Oh, interesting. I suppose you're talking about Teton Disco to some degree. Yes. I used to get upset when bands broke up when I was a lot younger. And then I was in a band that broke up, and I was like, oh, I have no idea what's going on with those people. Yeah. I mean, can you talk more about navigating in a group band? Being in a band, being in all the bands were different. I'm not going to talk about every single band that I've been in, but my first band was Lyra. Then I joined a band / co-created a band called Capita the Sun, and then I joined a band called Wink, and then I joined a band called Peach Cake. Or wait, I joined a band called I was in Lyra, and then I co-created a band called Capita the Sun, and then I joined a band called The Crush, and that tour is how I played shows with like a lot of scene groups I don't really like Blood on the Dance Floor and Jeffree Star and stuff like that. And then I joined Peach Cake, and then I joined Wink. And I was playing in Wink and Peach Cake and The Crush at the same time. Then The Crush broke up, and then I left Peach Cake, stayed in Wink for a little while, and then I had Omni Boy and Winky going on at the same time. And then I joined Two-Tone Disco, so I was in Wink, Omni Boy, Two-Tone Disco. And then I moved to California, essentially leaving Wink in Arizona, and then I was an Omni Boy in Two-Tone Disco. And then last year in January, I left Two-Tone Disco, and now I'm just an Omni Boy. I'm just Omni Boy. And so I've been in a lot of groups, Jordan. Navigating ego and creating what you want is interesting, because the reason I said I co-created the group Capita the Sun is because that is the only group I've ever been in since the beginning. That's the only group. So I had a lot of ego in that. And the reason that it was hard is because there was only two of us, me and my friend Nick Miller. He did all of the guitar, drums, vocals, and I did all of the bass work and the keyboard and doing like composition of songs. And when we performed live, we had to get other members to play with us. We had to get, a bass player, because I would play keys, he would play guitar and sing, and we had to get a drummer and a bass player, which meant we had to teach these people the parts. And when it came to playing live, we were younger. I do want to say that I'm a lot younger and could have handled it a lot better, but it felt good. There was like an ego that was being, like when our shows did well, when somebody was like, we love these songs, it felt good. And I never really thought about how it felt for the two people that were in the band where they weren't on the album cover, they weren't mentioned on the MySpace music or whatever. And so the band ultimately ended up falling apart, not because of that, but navigating ego was, outside of that one experience, Jordan, very easy because, again, everything else I joined, Lyra, Peach Cake, Wink, The Crush, Two Tone Disco, were going on before I joined. Before I joined Two Tone Disco, James was already a DJ. He didn't have original songs out, but he was like DJing already. And then I joined and started writing songs for him. And Weird as the New Cool, they were already, that's what Wink is short for. They were already a band. I joined as a keyboard player to add something to the band. For The Crush, they were already a band. They were going on tour and they just needed a live aspect, so they added me to perform live keys. So, yeah. I think navigating egos can be really hard. It's easier for me because what I'll usually do, Jordan, is I put a lot of my best investment in my solo project, and it allows me some level of disconnect, for better or for worse, from my side projects. For example, with Two Tone Disco, I did make all of the music, but as far as like the little like sushi art and all that stuff that was being commissioned, I had really no say in that stuff. And I don't even necessarily know that I really wanted to. I just didn't care that much about the visuals. I didn't care really about the video. I didn't care where the next show was going to be happening. I didn't care anything. All I cared about is, this is what the song sounds like. I would like to be credited and paid for the song, please. And everything else is whatever. Everything else is extra. And so, I hope that answers your question, Jordan. I don't know. I don't know if it does, but hopefully that answers your question. Egos are really hard to navigate, and I think that the easiest way to get through ego is just find a place where your ego can exist comfortably and not trample all over everybody else. And mine has always been Omniboy, which is why I very rarely have compromised when it comes to Omniboy. I can compromise Two Tone Disco all day. I can compromise like the commissions that I'm doing or a game I'm working on. When it comes to Omniboy and somebody says, maybe you should do this, it's really hard for me to go, oh, yeah, you're right. Maybe I should perform in a red shirt. That'll be good for, maybe I should make jokes to the crowd. It's like, I don't want any direction for Omniboy. And that's both helped and hurt me. Okay. Better end things early than drag it on forever. Lindsay said, no shade to the Pixies. I'm just confused. Where to? I want to hear that the Pixies are still around. I'm like, why? That's fair. Makes sense. Kudos to you for being able to acknowledge that. Omni says, Jordan, word up. Great insight, because I feel like there's always unsaid push and pull in a group until it blows up. No one says how they feel. Yeah, it's really hard. Whenever I see a band of people that are still around after like 10 years, I'm always very impressed. Because it is hard, and it's hard to pretend you care about all the same things. Not to bring Two Tone Disco back into the conversation, but the art and visual identity of Two Tone Disco, I did not enjoy at all. Like all of the this is what the art's gonna look like. This is what our photo shoot's gonna look like. Everything was very, very weeby. Like, here's a Kingdom Hearts reference. Here's a reference to this. For those of you that know me, which is everybody in the stream, you know I love Kingdom Hearts. You know I love Oswald. You know I love Little Caesars. But you don't see that pushed into my music. It would feel kind of cheap and disingenuous. So yeah, I didn't really like that, but I mean, there's the ego, right? And so when people propose that I should be in a group or whatever with somebody now, I'm like, no, I've done a lot of that. I think I might have had my fill. One of my favorite groups battles has lost a member. almost every album. That's pretty funny. Well, I just googled Tucson Disco art stuff, and wow, it is a weeby dream. Yeah, yeah. Yerp yerp. Um, it's interesting. But yeah, that's what the Spanky dilemma was. I was just wondering how you guys would behave if you guys found, because I arguably am to a fault all about like ethics in music, right? Whenever I find out that somebody is credited for something that they didn't make, it's like a huge like red flag for me. Whenever I see any of that, whether it's my art or somebody else's, I'm like, yo, you didn't make that. What the heck? What's going on here? Why are you crediting yourself for this? Why are you saying you did that? And so it's interesting because obviously people that are not in the industry or that are not invested ethically or artistically don't have um, the same what's the word, extreme reaction to things. If I like the manga Helsing and somebody's like, oh, the dude that's name's on that, he didn't even make it, bro. He stole that from some other dude. He stole it from Spanky, actually. I'd be like, oh, wild. But I wouldn't care that much because I don't care about whoever created Helsing. It's weird. You can like something that is a creative endeavor, but really have no bearing or appreciation personally for the person who created it. Whether this is food, it's a movie, it's music, it's a book, you can kind of not care. And so if somebody tells you they didn't make it, it's like, oh, I don't really care about them anyway. I just care about the art. So the art's still good. So that's what I'm going to focus my efforts on. I think most people are like that. They don't really care too much about the person. They just care that they're getting some new music. Oh. Wow. We've been in the stream for a long time, Jordan. Which means I need to wind it down. I already did the news as far as like listing the Bandcamp, SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Google Play, Amazon MP3, Tidal, Groove, Deezer, Pandora, Napster, and YouTube, where we are. Check out Quarantunes if you haven't. I know everybody in here hasn't seen all 8 episodes of Quarantune, so please do. I appreciate you guys for doing so in advance, and for those of you that have already done it, i.e. Lindsay, i.e. Cyber, i.e. Maddie, thank you all. I appreciate you for giving me 15 minutes of your time. I mean, you guys were in the stream for roughly 3 hours, so 15 minutes is nothing. It's nothing. This song is called Hush Hour. I wrote it in Hong Kong. Hong Kong, who really knows how to protest. Wow. I was in Hong Kong during the protests, and I didn't realize how skilled they were at it until we started having ours over here lately. That song is called Hush Hour, and it marks the end of the stream. Thank you, everybody, for being in the stream. Thank you guys for being respectful to me and polite to each other. This was very long. It's also very warm in here. I'll see you guys soon, though. I'll see you guys tomorrow, to be exact, for stream number 150, which, again, will not be a production stream. At least it's not planned to be. If it ends up being a production stream, that'll be a last-minute switch. But for right now, it's just going to be a morning medley. Ava says, y'all misunderstood. My boss was just wasted like 2 hours of my life. Oh. I misunderstood my boss and I just wasted 2 hours of my life. I'm really sorry, Ava. We've all been there. Be safe, Omni. Have a good day. Thank you, Kiwi. Be safe, everybody. Have a good Wednesday. I'll see you back here tomorrow morning. Abba. Oh, crap. I'm still